Welcome, welcome. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever hope or care or custom brings you here today, you are welcome. This is a community of gratitude and of joy, and we celebrate being together. We're especially grateful for everyone who makes our community happen. And this morning, of course, we have Dr. Les and our wonderful choir. Jess Fox is our AV tech, and Deborah Freeman is our worship associate. And I am sure those of you gathering with us in person were greeted by one of our welcome team. Think about this. You could become a member of our welcome team, making this a more warm and welcoming community. And we also always have a full complement of folks working with our children. Here's a special note of gratitude today, a special note of gratitude to those mentors and chaperones who probably didn't get much sleep because we sent 15 high school youth to the mountain this weekend for a youth con. 15. Isn't that amazing? All right. But now I just want to invite you to arrive in this place for this hour. Take a few deep breaths. Settle your bodies, settle your hearts. This is a sacred space that we create together every time we gather, whether we're here in person, whether we're joining from home. This is a time that we set aside for centering, for being and becoming, for finding our way forward with greater measures of peace, hope, and goodwill for all that may yet be. So now let us listen with our hearts open to our opening music.
Choir. Would you please come forward to light our chalice? The words for our chalice lighting are adapted from Marta Valentine. We pause this morning from the chaos of the world to light our chalice, to reclaim the beauty within these walls that carry us through the week. We lift this community in our hearts with pride and grace-filled expectations for each other, our children, and our children's children. Let us begin. And now please rise in body or spirit to sing hymn number 352, Find a Stillness.
Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Hi. So I have a quick question for you today. So how many of you have ever been to another place that people gather for a time of like worship and reflection that wasn't this congregation? Anyone ever been to like another church or another place of worship? Look around. A couple of you? How about any of you? Let me see. Got hands. All right. Well, that's the cool thing about the world, is there are a lot of places where people gather to do things very similar to what we do here. And we're going to take a look at some of them today because the world is just filled with sacred places. And some of them look very different, but there are a lot of commonalities. So can you see these? Look at those places, right? So the tall one, the brown one there that looks like it has some spikes on it, that is the Great Mosque in Niger. It's a Muslim place of worship, and they gather several times a day. And then the second one is here in the United States in New Hampshire. That's called the United Church of Ackworth, and it's Christian, right? And very similarly, you see how all of them kind of have some similarity? That last one is a pagoda in Dali, China, and they all kind of have a similar rising up with something at the top. So that's kind of cool. And we're going to go to the next one. And this, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? This is the Sri Minkashi Amman Temple, which is in Madura, India. And this is a Hindu temple. And this is just two of the buildings that are built to honor Parvati, who is the wife of the Hindu god Shiva. But isn't that amazing with all the things they've built onto there? I just love the colors. But not all places where people gather are buildings. Let's look at the next one. Does anybody know what this one is? Can anyone guess? This is the River Ganges, which is a sacred place to Hindu folks who live in the Himalaya mountains and go through northern India. And in order to worship or do sacred things, they'll go down to the river and they'll bathe in the river and they'll do blessings down there. So not all of them are buildings. Some of them are natural places, this river, the Ganges. How about the next one? Oh, this one's considered one of the most famous places in the world. And I know I'm standing in front of some of you. Can everybody see the pictures in one place or another? Yeah, this is in Jerusalem. This is the Dome of the Rock, and it's sacred to three different groups of religious folks, to Jews, to Christians, and to Muslims, this place. So it's very, very famous. Yeah. All right, we're going to go to the next one. And sometimes people gather at this place. This is called the Kaaba. And has anyone ever heard of traveling to Mecca? Anyone? Well, this is Mecca. This is where people go. And it's in Saudi Arabia. And it's people will make a trek there, often walking a long, long way to get there. But most folks think that they should go, if they're Muslim, they should go at least once to Mecca in person. And then sometimes people, when they gather together, the important thing about what they're doing isn't where they go, but what they do. For example, we like singing, right? And here's a congregation. Actually, this is a particular congregation. This is Concord Baptist Church, which is in Boston. And they have a really well-known choir, so they love to sing joyfully. And then, of course, at long last, some people just like to go out in nature, too. That's where they find a real sense of the sacred. How many of you like to go out and see the stars or walk in the mountains? Yeah, a lot of people find sacred time there. So that's what we're talking about here in the congregation this morning. We're going to be talking about sacred places and seasons and things. We're going to also do a sacred thing. We're going to sing to you, like the group in Concord in Boston. We're going to sing to you as you head off to religious education. If you're new today, why don't you go with your kiddos so you can find out where to pick them up afterwards. But we're going to sing to you as you go to religious education this morning. Let's take a moment now to pause again, to share a time of centering in whatever you like to call it. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's prayer, maybe it's inner reflection. Holy Spirit of life, named and unnamed, you who have been within us and between us since time began, center our hearts this sacred season. The world can be too much with us, and we are often weary and worried. This morning we've gathered seeking comfort and joy. Open us, Spirit of hope, to moments of beauty and transcendence. May such grace pass from heart to heart as to lift up each, and from there to carry a spark back out into the world. May a season of peace truly come upon us. We long for a world where all are safe and those who take care of us are cared for and are not overburdened. We hold in our hearts a world where every child is fed, all our siblings have shelter, the bounty of this beautiful earth is nurtured and shared, and we cease from war. We look to each other for the courage to speak with those with whom we disagree, to seek common ground and renew national purpose. We gather in community to find the inner wisdom to change our own hearts, where change might bless the world. These holy days are our common prayer. May this time of reflection be sustenance for the days to come. And now, into a time of shared silence, we lift up the individual prayers of our hearts. Amen. And now, following on this peacemaking time, this comes our time for sharing of joys and concerns. And as is our practice, we will be doing 2 vessels with rocks. Into the large vessel of water, we sprinkle flower petals for all of those things that bring us joy or hope or satisfaction. And into the taller vessel, we sprinkle a little bit of salt to acknowledge the sorrow, the pain, the suffering. We invite those of you who would like to share this time with us to line up there, and as you approach the bowls, you can put rocks into whichever vessel. But if you would, then continue circling around, right? Just so that it's easier for the traffic flow. Deborah and I will be there to be present with you during this time. We'll be sharing rocks with those of you who may have mobility issues as well. So please, come and share your joys and concerns. We also add a stone each for those folks who are gathering at home, because whether we are together or apart, we are one community. And you may have noticed that I added one stone into the vessel for all those things that we carry that are painful. And for those of you who may not know, Reverend Claudia is not here today. She is with her family in Florida because her brother has been in intensive care this week. And so she wants you to know that she's being as well cared for and her family is being as well cared for as is possible. But we, of course, hold her in our hearts. And we have 2 candles to light this morning as well. A longtime member who was here for many years, Bill Agrella, died on Thanksgiving Day. And so in memory of Bill and his family, we light this candle of remembrance. And of course, as you all know, war has resumed in the Middle East and continues in Ukraine, and there are many places where violence and unrest exist. And with sorrow and hope for a different future, we also light our peace candle.
And now I will read Blessing by Barbara Peskin. We spend so much time running from ourselves, fleeing from what we know about the goodness in our hearts. We think we can escape the intelligence of our loving. Imagine you are standing before a bodhisattva, Jesus, Buddha, the First Mother. It does not matter what you call the Holy One. He has dust on his shoes, chaff clings to her, the smells of being alive. Shining from their faces is the beam of all their questions, the compassion of their living. Can you see yourself through those eyes? Can we know each other like this? We who no longer believe in messiahs can hardly believe in each other. Can we know ourselves seen and know each other the same way until our restless hearts learn to abide in this knowing and this love? Can we live in this gaze of blessing? And now, please stand in body or spirit. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's a musical reflection.
And so we sing till doubt and sorrow cease. Our light of hope is all of peace.
There is hope in this world.
I come before you today, my siblings. I need to make a confession. My confession is that I am a very big fan of Cheesemas movies. Does anyone know what Cheesemas movies are? These are the multitudinous holiday films that proliferate each year. You know, the one big city person goes to a small town, learns the true meaning of the holidays, or maybe it's a brassy, bickering family that discovers the holidays can bring anyone together. Or, no, really, that's it. Those are the plots. I mean, to get there, sometimes you have to fix up an inn, save an African elephant rescue organization, marry a prince or a princess or Santa. That's a big one. But really, there's not a lot of thematic variability. These are glittery, softly lit holiday fluff, occasionally featuring women over the age of 40. And they are the cinematic equivalent of eating a sugar cookie for lunch. They ask very little of you except that you set aside your critical faculties and settle in for 75 minutes of cheerful nonsense. Now, this year, we had the joy of one of the most popular being set right here in Asheville. How many of you have seen A Biltmore Christmas? Me, thank you. Let's watch that. But as we make our way into another political season, with democracy clearly on the line, wars that break our hearts, and COVID and RSV still lingering, it is no surprise that such pleasant and distracting nonsense is a popular escape for many people. It's okay to take a break sometimes. You know, in our hymnal, Max Coots writes, "When love is felt or fear is known, when holidays and holy days and such times come, when anniversaries arrive by calendar or consciousness, when seasons come as seasons do, old and known but somehow new, when lives are born or people die, when something sacred's sensed in soil or sky, mark the time. Respond with thought or prayer or grief. Let nothing living slip between the fingers of the mind, for all of these are holy things, and we will not, cannot find them again." Now, there's this cliche that we've often heard, something about the reason for the season, but you know, Coots has it exactly right. When holidays and holy days and such times come, we must mark the time. This is what we are about all around the world in so many faiths come December. We're pausing, at the end of one year, on the cusp of the new, to mark the time. Something sacred's sensed. We are trying, whether we realize it clearly or not, to respond with thought or prayer or grief. A Midwestern television station did one of those familiar person-on-the-street interviews to ask people how they spend their December holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Bodhi Day, others. And Denver local Brittany Baker said this. She said, "It's time to spend with your family and take time from work. We're really a society where you're grinding all the time. And so for everybody to take a pause, that's unique. And so that's why the holidays are important or special to me, because everybody takes a break." Now, of course, not everybody can or does take a break in December. And sometimes holidays or holy days are spent alone or with family of choice. This still is the reason for a holiday season, to take a break, to pause the daily round, perhaps to sense something sacred, or just mark the time. All around the world, people craft holidays and holy days to light a candle in the darkness. At Yule, for example, a modern pagan might light a Yule log and lift a glass and say, "Beneath the tree of light and life, a blessing at the season of Yule. To all that sit at my hearth, today we are siblings, we are family, and I drink to your health. Today we do not fight. We bear no one ill will. Today is a day to offer hospitality to all that cross my threshold in the name of the season. Today we are family. Today we do not fight. A blessing to all today. If not every day, then perhaps just this one day." Online pagan observers note, the winter solstice time is no longer celebrated as it once was, with the understanding that this is a period of descent and rest, of going within our homes, within ourselves, and taking in all that we have been through, all that is past in this full year, which is coming to a close, like nature and the animal kingdom around us. This time of hibernation is necessary for our tired limbs and our burdened minds. The natural tug to go inwards, as nearly all creatures are doing, is very strong. And sometimes, in the past at least, the weather has been so bitter that people are left feeling winter is hard. Because for those of us without burning fires and big festive families, that can be lonely or isolating. Where winter is kind, it points us in its quiet, soft way toward our inner self, an annual time of peace and reflection, embracing the darkness and forgiving, accepting, and lovingly embracing a goodbye, for example, to the past year. You know, winter takes away all those distractions, the buzz. It presents us with a perfect time to rest and withdraw into a womb-like love, bringing fire and light to the hearth. And then, just around the corner, the new year will begin again, and like a seed planted deep in the earth, we will all rise with renewed energy once again to dance in the sunlight. Life is a gift. In tradition after tradition, these sacred seasons are just litanies of our highest intentions and our boldest dreams of peace on earth, goodwill to all. You know, the Pure Land Buddhist Reverend Earl Aikida says, "December is a month of holidays, or as a popular song goes, the most wonderful time of the year." Now, I tend to agree with this sentiment as I enter into the spirit of the season and experience the brilliant sights and sounds. You know, in the United States, the most common celebrations are, of course, Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa. But in the Japanese Buddhist tradition, we also observe Bodhi Day. On December 8th, we recognize the 2,500 years ago when the historical Buddha attained enlightenment. As he sat under a Bodhi tree, reaching down with his finger touching the earth, he awakened to an awesome awareness that everything in the entire universe is connected. And he removed himself from all forms of anger, greed, and desire that cause suffering, and thus attained a state of perfect wisdom and compassion. After reflecting on that, Reverend Akita shares a story from his own childhood, and he says, "When I was growing up, my parents operated a business in Hawaii, and at this time of year, my father always made a point to reduce his debts and to make courtesy calls to all the people who made our family business possible. I remember as a little boy, I would accompany him on these visits, sometimes to places quite distant from our house, and we would get home very late. But regardless of the time or the distance involved, these year-end calls were important to my father. It was deeply meaningful for him to formally say thank you for their help, for their patronage during the past year. and to reflect on the possibility working together for a better year to come. Holidays and holy days, sacred seasons, our chance to mark the time to just dream of a better world, just to step outside the daily round and focus, if not forever, for at least a few moments, on profound human hopes for peace on earth, goodwill to all. The largely American observation of Kwanzaa is among those celebrations which ask us not to pause for just one day, but to hold attention across a window of time. The National Museum of African American History and Culture reminds us that this time of reflection, which was started in 1966 by Maulana Ron Karinga, it doesn't focus on the individual, but draws on the strength, wisdom, and well-being of the community itself. Unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics. It's a celebration of the communitarian values of the whole African continent. It's a time to kindle lights, time to gather with family, break bread, and dream of a better world that might be built together. It's a practice of faith, a sensing of something sacred in soil and sky. Kwanzaa marks the time. Now, I myself believe in ritual and holidays. I believe that ours is a living faith, that spiritually we are rooted in our history and the traditions from which our faith arose. But we also move into new iterations as the Spirit calls us. And so we have to ask the question, how do we celebrate our faith in this season? And my dear friend, the Reverend Meg Barnhouse notes, she says, and remember, she's very funny. My experience of our UU values is that they are deeply demanding. One asks me to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, which means I can no longer subscribe to the cheerful Calvinist doctrine of the total depravity of human nature. It sounds grim, but really, if you are in fact starting with a totally depraved nature, the opportunities for self-congratulation abound. Hey, I didn't knock over a 7-Eleven this afternoon, even though money's pretty tight. I am doing well. Now, she says, I have to struggle with the worth and dignity of people who do unspeakably awful things, whereas the doctrine of total depravity made that one a no-brainer. I'm supposed to value the democratic process, hearing the voice of everyone equally, allowing everyone to have a say. Our UU faith is demanding enough to make me whine. Now, for those who feel that they are thin gruel, I have a suggestion. So let's stick something onto the end of our values. Something that will stop people from smiling and nodding comfortably. Now, instead of adding the familiar in the bathtub or between the sheets, how about attaching beginning in our homes and our congregations? Then we'd be faced with affirming things like the goal of peace, liberty, and justice for all, beginning in our homes and congregations. By the end of this piece, she concludes, for me, the heart of the liberal faith is to be connected to something greater than yourself, to wallow in the spirit of life, love, and truth, to have fair trade coffee and important conversations, to stand for love, to side with love, and against quibbling, complaining, and flouncing off in a huff, to moving toward being in right relationship with ourselves, with one another, and with the planet. If you want to make your own family, your own holiday, your own rituals, if there is a way to mark the time, to light a candle in the darkness and dream of how to build a better world and a better time, then why not? Do that. Respond with thought or prayer. or grief. Let nothing living slip between the fingers of the mind, for all of these are holy things. In cold days and dark times, in seasons of loss or exhaustion, we need to kindle a light, to celebrate with kindness and song, to pause in our work and in all our efforts, and to just be at rest. It's okay to enjoy some frivolity, like a Cheesemas movie, A Bit More Christmas, in the midst of all the busy. And it's so worth it to just settle down with those that you love and talk together about important things, unity and the strength of community, what enlightenment looks like, how to create a more peaceful world, maybe the difference between what we want and what we need, the value of everyone having maybe a little bit of both. In this sacred season of both light and darkness, when all around us is this deep longing for peace, for meaning, for rest, and maybe, yes, for celebration, I hope those questions will echo as you mark the time, because holy days and holidays are here. Respond with thought or prayer or grief. Let nothing living slip between the fingers of the mind, for these are holy things indeed. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
I think I can do it now. I think it's time. Please rise and embody your spirit as we sing a hymn I think you probably know. Number 235, Deck the Halls. Now is the time when we invite visitors to stand and introduce yourselves. If you raise your hand, our ushers will bring you a microphone. Please tell us your name and where you're visiting from.
Hello, I'm Patricia Phillips, Diana Forrest's sister.
Okay, I'm Michael Thorne. I'm married to Diana Phillips' sister. We are UUs. We're a member of Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Bethesda, Maryland.
Hi, good morning. My name's Mika Smith, and I'm coming from San Diego. I'm Linda Koiker's niece.
My name is Linda Whinery, and I'm Linda Koiker's sister-in-law.
Okay, welcome everyone. Our announcements run as slides at the beginning of the service. If you missed them, refer to Thursday's weekly e-news as everything is described there. If you don't receive the e-news, ask an usher to show you how to sign up or email us at information@uuasheville.org. And now Reverend Audette has a couple of announcements.
So, holiday events. Just so you know, folks are asking about these. This coming Wednesday is a special Vespers service. We have Vespers once a month. This Wednesday is that service. We're going to be gathering, having a meal, and decorating the church. There will be a special guest with us that night. Please bring yourselves, a friend, maybe some soup or bread. Join us at 6 p.m. for dinner and Vespers, and then some holiday magic, and hopefully help us decorate the church. And then next Sunday, December 10th, after the service, we have a special fundraiser, Pictures with Santa. Between 12:30 and 2:30, please bring your kids or your pets or yourselves and have your picture taken with Santa right here. Tell your friends about this special event. All are welcome. We have a professional photographer taking the pictures. You'll have access to your photos, and it is much better than the mall. Also, on Christmas Eve, since that's a Sunday, our family service will be led by Reverend Claudia at our regular 11 a.m. time, and our Christmas Eve concert and candlelight service begins at 7 p.m. All are welcome. Please join us for both of those or either of those. And one last reminder, today after the service, I hope you will join me here in the sanctuary after a brief break at about 12:20 to vote on our justice priorities for the coming years, because we really would like to have everyone's input. There will also be a way to vote online throughout December, and you probably already know that there are some auction items that you can purchase during coffee hour. So holiday events, lots of them.
This month, the community plate goes to the Minister's Discretionary Fund, with an emphasis on our ability for holiday season giving. The MDF supports members and active friends who have special financial needs during the holidays or all year round. Your support of this fund allows us to lend a hand to those right here at UUCA who may need our care and support in difficult times. The work and ministries of this congregation are entirely supported by the generosity of the members and friends who are its body, and those who find us for an hour or a lifetime. This is why we celebrate generosity each Sunday with music and thanks. You make us possible, and we give thanks for you. Today's offering will now be collected and gratefully received. for the gifts of your faith and wisdom, attention and presence, time and resources. We are grateful.
As our time together this morning in worship begins to draw to a close, let us hear these words from the Hindu Rig Veda to seal this time, and then we invite you to rise as you're willing and able to do so to the peak of your physical or spiritual stature. And we'll sing our closing song, Long Time Sun, and retreat to coffee hour. The words of the Rig Veda. May there be peace on earth. May the waters be appeasing. May herbs be wholesome, and may trees and plants bring peace to all. May all beneficent beings bring peace to us. May your wisdom spread peace all through the world. May all things be a source of peace to all and to each. Om Shanti, 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 which means peace, peace, peace. Please rise.